Termination. Termination is a reality. You're gonna have to fire your. You're gonna have to terminate caregivers and maybe your assistant at a time. At some point in time. So when you do this, you want to make sure you're doing it right. First and foremost, you want to make sure you distribute a handbook, an employee handbook, and make sure that everybody signs off that they received their handbook. You want to document all the violations. You want to document everything that happens, every incident. You want to create a paper trail. You always want to have everything documented from the smallest, little, slightest write-ups, or the slightest little infractions or problems being late. Everything you should be documenting. Everything. Um, you want to enforce the disciplinary policies. You want to make sure you're actually enforcing those things and not just letting people get past. Say, okay, if you're late 2 times a week, uh, this is going to happen. You're going to, you won't be on the schedule for next week. Or if you do this and that, and, whatever the disciplinary action that you set in your company for the caregiver or the assistant or anybody else who's working at whatever point, you have to enforce those policies, or people can use that against you and say, okay, well, I never got this disciplinary action taken, so how can you fire me if you never gave me a warning or you never did this, or you know what I mean? So it's just like you want to make sure you do everything in that fashion, and you want to stick to what you have on paper. Before you fire someone, you definitely want to do an investigation. You want to make sure you consult with everyone who's involved. You make sure you talk to everybody who has anything to do with it. If it's a client, if it's a problem with a client, if it's a problem with another caregiver, um, if it's a problem with the caregiver and the assistant, you just want to make sure that you're did a thorough investigation. You got everybody's side of the story, and then you come to your conclusion based on the information that you gathered during that investigation. And then you want to know the law. You want to make sure that you're being consistent with the law and that what you're firing or terminating that person for is legal. You want to make sure you're not firing them based on things that are not legal to fire people for. And you have to look at, I'm not going to go into it and break down the whole law, but you want to make sure you know the law before you push that button and fire someone. um, you want to put the employee on a notice, so you want to get them a warning, pretty much. It's like, look, this has happened, and the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to have to fire you. And these are like tough conversations that you got to be ready to have with people. And this goes back to when I said don't hire family and friends, because they want most of the times. So like if I hire my friend, he's not gonna take me serious because we got a personal relationship, so he might be thinking that I'm playing, and then when I fire him, then he upset. Or my sister, for instance, we had my sister working for us, and it didn't work out so great, and it hurt the relationship for a time. Things are better now, but at the time when we were going through it, you don't want to hire your family member, is all I'm saying, or your friends. So definitely put people on notice. But then at the end of the day, you want to handle the termination with dignity. You want to make sure that you're doing it in a honorable way, in an honest way, in a way that doesn't hurt anyone. You don't want to have anybody having any kind of ill will towards you, ill will towards your company, and it's going to badmouth you. I mean, the much as you can, because you've done it the right way. That's the most important thing, that you've done it the right way. You don't want to do it over the phone. You want to have a face-to-face conversation. If you can have a witness with you, just so they can kind of see. You can have a witness, and so everybody can, if it ever comes back, you have evidence that it went down the way that you saying it went down. And um, you do it face to face, not in front of other caregivers or under other people. Like I said, just one other witness is fine, and you treat them with respect. And chances are, if you explain to them like this isn't working, and you let them know these are the reasons. You pull out the documentations. You remind them of the disciplinary actions that was enforced. You give them access to the investigation. The information that you want to show them about the investigation, and you remind them that you put them on notice, and this was the final decision. And you just feel like it's you let them know that this is the best thing for everyone, because for them to continue working with you wouldn't be good for anyone. So do it right. Make sure you're you're sticking to the laws, and you kind of you be gentle with them, but you be stern as well. And you shouldn't have any trouble with this process. It's just a thing. It's just something that you have to deal with when you own a company. You're gonna have to fire people, but like I said, at the end of the day, handle your terminations with dignity.